our tradition here in Minnesota. You pack up the car on the weekend and you head to the cabin. My best friend just landed in Minnesota from San Diego.
Oh.
We're heading up this weekend.
The keys to her cabin.
Yeah, that's the best.
Okay, so maybe you're not a cabin person, though. Now is a great time to become one. But one thing you shouldn't do is just be impulsive and say, look, I see one, I'm buying one.
Here with their cabin buying advice from the DeRoche Realty Group and eXp Realty, we want to welcome back Julie and Daniel DeRoche and all of their infinite wisdom. We need you guys here, especially with the cabin. I think the cabin choice, it is so easy to get like all romantic about it and then make a bad choice. So let's talk about location. Daniel, that's the number one thing that you want to start to think about when you're going for the cabin.
Absolutely, and everybody has different ways of looking at it. You know, do you want it to be somewhere that you can really just run to for a day or just overnight, or do you really want to feel like you're getting away? So, like, we have clients that buy cabins literally 45 minutes, an hour out of the city.
Yeah, some of you people have cabins on Lake Minnetonka. I don't know who you are or what
we know a
I
few.
always think out of Lake Waconia as well. I'm like,
Yep.
it's right there. It's so beautiful.
There's lots of big lakes actually within an hour that are really nice. Obviously a little higher price point. Or do you want to drive 5 hours and be really out of it?
And get away.
I sense a little bias, so I feel like you might want to stick around a little close. I would be a close guy, but I have friends who have cabins up north. It's a bit of a drive, but maybe that's it. The money goes a longer way up there.
Well, it depends on the lake. You
Yeah.
can get to some of the like the whitefish chain. It's pricey. But it just, everybody's so different. And even myself, even us, like there's days where we're like, yeah, let's get a cabin. Like seriously, somebody will call us to sell and I'm like, let's buy this one. And just like, it's 6 hours away.
Yeah,
We're never gonna
right.
go. I'm like, all right.
Yeah, and then you also have to think about traffic because just because, I mean, we talk about the Whitefish Chain and that's where I'm headed this weekend. I mean, we love it up there so much.
It's
But
beautiful.
I have driven home on Sundays and it has taken me 5 hours to get home because traffic is so bad. It's not always about just the distance on the map.
No, on a Saturday or like a Friday night going out or a Saturday night coming in, it can literally go from a 4-hour normal drive to six and a half. And if you've got kids and crap, it gets
Ain't nobody
hot
got
and
time
sweaty
for that.
and everybody's crabby. And
I'll pass. We're driving past a wetland. Look out the window.
Talk about crabby dads.
Oh, yeah, that's exactly right. Put the movie on. Okay, now everybody wants to live on a lake. That idea sounds lovely, but Julie, you've got some different kind of questions that you might be wanting to ask yourself about what you want lake life to look like.
Yeah, you have to think more specific. Okay, you want to be on a lake, but there's a lot of things that come down to the lake, and it's better to search and like find some lakes that you like, and then we focus on those lakes. So we have to think about, do you want a big lake? Do you want a small lake? Do you want to be on a chain? Like up in the Whitefish area, the chain of lakes is great for some people.
Right.
Some people don't want to be on a big chainy lake because they want it small and they don't want a lot of activity. So you
Yeah.
really have to figure out what you like, what kind of boating you want to do, what do you want to be doing as far as activities go on the lake,
Sure.
and kind of figure
Like,
it
are
out
you
that
fishing
way.
in a little tiny boat, or do you want like a monster yacht? I mean, what do you want to happen there?
Exactly.
The money is a big issue too, because newsflash, cabins cost money.
That's
They
why many
are
of us don't
expensive.
have them.
Yeah, no,
You know?
bummer. Okay, so when you're getting this lined up, Daniel, what is the difference between financing a second home versus a first home? What do you need to think about?
well, it's going to be a higher interest rate. So if you're not buying cash, you definitely have to get approved.
Okay,
And,
so why is that? Because someone might be thinking, look, it's just a property's a property. Why is there a higher interest rate here?
you know, to be honest, I don't have a great answer for that one. It's just the way the mortgage companies work because it's a secondary home. There's more risk for them to lend on it because
Yeah.
you'd
Sure.
let it go
Because if you're going to
easier.
foreclose on one, it would probably
gonna
be
be
that
that
one. Yeah, that
and it
would
can
be
make a big difference in your payment.
So you want to get pre-approved and ready to buy, but then the mortgage is just one part of the expenses. I mean, what are the other expenses you really need to add in there?
A lot of people don't think about it. For starters, it's just ongoing maintenance. When you're not at a property all the time, the ongoing exterior maintenance can add up, like even stuff like roofs and windows and driveways, but then the landscaping, like if you're only going out for a Saturday and Sunday, do you want to spend the whole day mowing, or are you paying a company to maintain it so when you get there it's ready to go?
Yeah, I would go with the latter,
Yeah.
100%. And then even just things like the boat. I mean, the boat and
dock.
furniture. Essentially, you have to do an entire new house of extra stuff.
Yep, it adds up. It's
It's
crazy.
not like a normal house where you're moving and you have your old furniture.
Yeah.
You now have a second house that you have to completely furnish that you probably don't have any furniture for.
I got a feeling that a lot of people, they get their cabin and then they move in and there's lawn chairs. We'll get it next year.
Folding
We'll get
table.
to it. It's going to happen. So think about furniture ahead of time. A couple of other things you might want to do before you look for a cabin would be figuring out what Do most people try to make money on their cabin when they're not there? Do they try to Airbnb it?
It's becoming more popular, especially with things like Airbnb and VRBO. It's a
Right.
little easier to kind of list those for a week to rent. You have to look into your city and township regulations, making sure that they allow it. But if they do, it's just a really great way to make some extra income and cover your mortgage and cover some of your costs on the property.
And I also think too, it kind of takes the heat off the pressure of having to go every weekend, where you can go. If we
Yes.
can designate like one weekend a month that we go, and then we pay for it with Airbnb or renting it out. What about just going and renting a cabin? Because this is sort of what we found in our family. Is it's like the cost of owning a cabin compared to if we wanted to rent a great place for 2 weeks a year. I mean, it is a lot less
if you're
expensive.
if you're truly just going to get 2 weeks a year, don't buy one, rent it.
Yeah.
And then travel all the different lakes. There's so many different areas you can go and have fun, and then that responsibility is not yours.
Before you go, you guys sometimes would suggest consider going in with another friend, and then you could split the time there. What's your one piece of advice so that the friendship lasts as long as the cabin?
Have the same kind of money ideals.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
you have to
there's
be
so
on the
much
same
more than
page
that.
about money. But you have to be on the same page about money and how you spend it and how you're going to maintain
Yeah,
your
are you the
property.
ones that want to mow the lawn on the weekend, or are you the ones that want to get it maintained?
Yeah.
If you have
Mow,
a dissension in the
I
ranks.
enjoy it.
We are
That's
not
how we'll do it.
doing
We're
this
doing it.
cabin
I can't believe we're
together.
doing
It's
it.
in no
This
way.
is, I'm pumped.
We're
Guys,
in.
thank you. We're definitely doing a cabin together. We're pretty excited about it.
Oh my gosh.
Julie and Daniel would love to help you buy, help you sell, or even build a home or a cabin for that matter. Head to TwinCitiesLive.com for a link to the DeRoche Realty Group with eXp Realty.
And a big thanks to DeRoche Realty Group for sponsoring Twin Cities Live. We're
Hey,
definitely not buying the
Romy.
cabin. Oh,
Oh,
my
we'll
gosh.
make it
Can
work.
you even imagine?
This week's